In the world of motorsports, there are certain names that just mean something more. They stand for grit, for talent, and for greatness. Today, we're going to take a look at the life and the incredible legacy of one of those names, NASCAR champion Greg Biffle. The news was just one of those things that stops you in your tracks. It was sudden, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. Greg Biffle, along with his wife Christina and their children, tragically lost their lives in a plane crash in North Carolina. It's a loss that sent shockwaves way beyond the racing community. You know, this tribute from Congressman Richard Hudson, it really gets to the core of who the Biff was. Millions of us knew him as this totally fearless driver on the track, but his impact as a human being, it was just as powerful. So to really appreciate the champion that the world is mourning right now, we've got to go back. We need to look at the journey that made him a true legend of the sport. What's so interesting about Greg Biffle's story is that it doesn't start in the traditional heart of stock car country. Nope. It starts way out in the Pacific Northwest. He was cutting his teeth on local short tracks, and his raw talent just became so obvious that the biggest names in the sport simply couldn't ignore him. And his rise, wow, it was nothing short of meteoric. After the legendary team owner Jack Roush spotted him back in '95, Biffle didn't just show up in NASCAR's lower divisions, he absolutely dominated them. He just stormed his way to a Truck Series title in 2000, and then, get this, just 2 years later, he conquered the Busch Series. The stage was set. Now, let's be clear, this wasn't just another trophy for the case. This was history. Biffle became the very first driver to win a championship in both of NASCAR's main feeder series. Think about that. He'd already cemented his place in the record books before he'd even run a full season at the top level. Incredible! So, with 2 championships already on his resume, it was time for the ultimate challenge, the NASCAR Cup Series. And for 16 seasons, he went wheel to wheel with the absolute best drivers in the world. So the question is, how did he do against the best of the best? Well, when you boil it all down, it kind of comes down to this one number. 19 times Greg Biffle parked his car in victory lane in NASCAR's Elite Cup Series. From his very first win at the iconic Daytona Speedway in 2003, all the way to his final victory in Michigan 10 years later, every single one of those wins was proof of his elite skill and just this relentless drive to win. And when you look at his career stats, the consistency is just remarkable. Over 500 starts, 175 top 10 finishes, and he came so incredibly close to that Cup championship, finishing runner-up in 2005. It's a resume that, of course, rightfully earned him a spot as one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers. But see, Biffle's legacy wasn't just built on ovals and road courses. His character and his deep commitment to helping other people, that was just as central to who he really was. He was also a licensed pilot, and he put that skill to amazing use. After Hurricane Helene just devastated communities, Biffle didn't just write a check. He got in his own plane and personally flew relief missions, delivering critical aid right to the people who needed it the most. That tells you everything. So in the wake of this tragedy, tributes just poured in from every corner of the NASCAR community, and they all paint this vivid picture of a man who was respected as both a fierce, tough competitor and a genuinely true friend. Team owner Justin Marks really hit on something powerful here, noting that this wasn't just the loss of a driver, but of an entire family whose positive contributions were felt all over. Fellow driver Daniel Suarez offered this really poignant thought, just a stark reminder of how fragile life is, and a really heartfelt farewell to a friend he called amigo. And this, from one legend to another. Chip Ganassi's words are so simple, but so profound. A racer's racer and a gentleman. Biffle was the ultimate competitor, but he always carried himself with class. And this sentiment from driver Zane Smith, I think it just captures what so many people were feeling. That sense of disbelief that someone who gave so much, who had such a positive impact, could be taken away so tragically. You know, it all leads you to this really fundamental question. When you look back on a life like Greg Biffle's, how do you really measure greatness? What's the metric? Is it just measured in the number of championships won or the trophies on the shelf? Or is it measured by the lives you touched, by the legacy of character and generosity that endures long after you're gone? Well, for Greg Biffle, the answer's pretty clear. It's all of the above. He was a champion on the track, a hero off of it, and an absolute legend in every single sense of the word.